Hello class, I hope yesterday you have gone through the notes and you have seen that this chapter which we are doing now, that is networking, has a lot of small topics in it. And as I told you yesterday that you don't have to really mug it up. Okay, just go through it and try to understand what it is. If you understand, I have a feeling that you will not have any problem in answering questions, because CBSE questions are such which tests your understanding, not how much you can, whether you can define something or not. Okay, the topic which we'll start today with called communication channel. Okay, what is a communication channel? Communication channel is nothing but just the media which is used to communicate between 2 points in the network. So if you have 2 points in the network, okay, if we can call it sender and receiver, right? Then basically the medium which is used to transmit certain amount of data from one point in the network to the other point in the network, that is called a communication channel. So obviously you can make out communication channel might mean a wired medium or might be a wireless medium, because we know the both the ways we can transmit data. Fine. So accordingly, what happened? The communication channel, if we write it in a tabular form, the communication channel, I'm writing in short, the communication channel can be basically divided into two parts. One is called wired transmission medium, okay, wired transmission medium, or we can call it guided transmission medium, and another is called you can say wireless or transmission media, or you can say this is unguided. Okay, these are the two communication medium which is possible. Now, if we are using cable to send data from one place to another place, in a very simple word, okay, if you are using cables, then there are three options normally we have. One is coaxial, okay, coaxial cable. One is called twisted pair cable, okay, and another is called optical fiber. Okay, optical fiber is the next option. So we have coaxial cable, twisted pair cable, and optical fiber cable. What are their merits, demerits, which one to use, when to use, this I will discuss later. First, let's see what is the basic divisions or basic categories. And if we are talking about wireless, then obviously you know wireless means we can have one kind of communication called radio communication or radio wave. You can have communication through microwave. Okay, you are familiar with these terms. And the third one which we can have is infrared. Okay, when do you use infrared? You use infrared in the remotes basically, right? So these are the three ways basically the wireless transmission media can be categorized, or wireless data transmission can take place. Now, basically here radio, microwave, infrared, these are different basically they have different frequencies. Fine. And accordingly they have different properties also. Now, if it is microwave, for example, microwave again there can be of two parts, like two kinds or two ways I can say the microwave communication can happen. That depends. If you are using microwave on the surface of the earth, then it is one kind. And if you are using it through satellite, if you are using satellite to make use of the microwave, then it is a different kind. So accordingly, basically, if it is microwave, then that is again categorized two ways. One is called terrestrial, that means on the earth's surface, and another is called basically satellite microwave communication. Fine. Satellite microwave communication means you can make out here there will be the help of satellite somewhere. Okay, like our dish TVs and all, there we have the satellite communication. Fine. And terrestrial microwave communication is like one point on the surface of the earth if you are sending the data to another place using microwave. Then it is called terrestrial. Fine. So these are basically the divisions. I will discuss in my next video the difference between these three wired medium and the wireless mediums. Okay, their merits, demerits, advantages. But before this, we need to understand that when we are talking about data transfer, then how do we express data transfer? Fine. Usually it is expressed by, the data transfer is expressed by certain terms, like we can say BPS, okay? We can also say capital BPS, fine? We can have KBPS and we can have capital BPS, okay? Now what is the purpose of writing the small and the capital? Look at the small and the capital. B is small and the capital. If it is small p, remember this, we are talking about bits per second. You know the unit of information is bit. Every single zero, every single one that we use in connection with binary, numeric system we have done, that every zero and every one is considered as a bit. Fine. So if you put 8 bits together, that makes 1 byte. So basically this means how many bits per second. This BPS stands for, when small b we write to mean bits and we write capital B to mean bytes. So that will be 8 times more because 8 bits makes a byte, right? So similarly kbps, kilobyte, kilobits per second and kilobytes per second. There are both the ways it can be written. So similarly we can write mbps, b small b capital, gigabytes, b small b capital, like this. Fine. So basically these units we use to mean the transfer, basically the data transfer rate, DTR we call it. But what we have to understand here is another term. Let us discuss that. That is called bandwidth. Okay, that is called bandwidth. Very often we use this term, bandwidth. What is bandwidth? Bandwidth is basically how much in a particular network, how much amount of data within a specific time can get transferred from one point to the other point. From one point in the network to the other point in the network, how much maximum data can be transferred within a specific time. Fine. So this is also basically data transfer rate. We can say it is the data transfer rate, or DTR. Data transfer rate. So accordingly, bandwidth is basically expressed in BPS, bits per second. Okay. But what happened nowadays? Technology has progressed. Networks, if you talk about the telecommunication or any network you talk about, they have a very high data transfer rates. So if it is a very high data transfer rate, then it is not very convenient to represent bandwidth by this unit, by the bits per second. So nowadays what happens? Normally we express in Mbps. Okay. In some cases we use it by Gbps also. Okay. We use Gbps. Fine. Gigabytes per second also we use. Mbps is for megabits per second. Okay. Bigger unit we use. Like our school, for example, we have this internet connection. For that our bandwidth is almost 8 bits per second, 8 Mbps per second, 8 megabits per second. Fine. You can go up to, this way you can borrow the connections from various telecommunication providers, basically those who provide internet connections. Up to 1 GB per second you can get it. Okay. Even higher is also possible, but obviously the kind of infrastructure we have, the kind of device that we use, that will not support that much. You need to go for a better kind of device, basically, right? So that is what is meant by bandwidth. But when we are talking about in telecommunication what happens in terms of signal processing, very often we use that we are not getting a good signal, or the signal is poor. So when we talk about in terms of signals, In telecommunication, what happens? The same bandwidth is expressed in a different way. How it is expressed? It is expressed as the difference between the higher frequency and the lower frequency, because these are all about different frequencies, right? So the difference between the higher frequency and the lower frequency, that defines the bandwidth in telecommunication. It is basically the same thing, okay? But when we talk about signal processing in telecommunication system, the same bandwidth is expressed by a different unit. That's what I wanted to tell you. And that unit is frequency. Unit of frequency is hertz, you know that. So bandwidth can also be expressed in hertz or kilohertz or whatever, units of hertz basically, right, in telecommunication system. Now another thing we basically sometimes we get to hear, very often we get to hear, that is broadband. Okay, what is broadband? Broadband is not about exactly the how much data can be transferred. It is basically how fast the data can be transferred from one place to another place. So basically how fast is your uploading and downloading speed, that defines the broadband. Fine. Now for broadband, basically there is no such fixed range. Some people say that if we get 256 kbps, it is broadband. Some people might say it varies from organization to organization. Different countries have different ways of expressing broadband. So basically broadband, we have to remember, broadband is a term which is used to mean how fast my uploading and downloading would be. That is expressed by using broadband. Fine. Whereas when I am saying bandwidth, I am talking about how much maximum data can be transferred in a network from one point to the other point. And bandwidth, as I told you, can be expressed both the ways. It can be this thing, it can be Mbps, BPS, Mbps. BPS we do not use nowadays anymore. It can be Mbps, gigabytes per second, or if we are talking about in terms of telecommunication industries and signaling, then we can also express it in hertz. It's possible to express it in hertz. Okay, and broadband is also, obviously broadband means how fast your internet is, so that is also expressed by Mbps or Gbps, or Mbps and Gbps normally they are used to mean the broadband. Okay.